Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Grandmaster Shaymin, and today we're going to be doing another episode of Fatal 12. In the last episode, well, things got really heavy as Sonya let out her emotions, and she knows that she's going to be the next one to be eliminated, and it breaks my soul. It really does. I really like her character so far, but I feel like it's going to come to an end here within by the end of this episode. At least it feels like. I don't think they have another day, but we'll see. But right at the end of the last episode, which if you haven't watched, you should go back and do that, Miharu was about to strike up a conversation with us as we began tidying everything up and Sonya went to sleep. I didn't notice anyone following us, so number 11 seems to be confident. Whimsical, even. I could tell Miharu was on edge the entire day, mainly because I was the same way when I first met Sonya. It's not far-fetched to assume that the one person would keep an eye on her parents, and the other would keep an eye on Sonya, since two participants are working together. In this case, number 3, Federico Camerati, would probably watch her parents, while number 11 would be in charge of Sonya, because she's the one holding her cards. Actually, I feel like it would probably be the opposite, because Federico seems to be the one that does the recon missions. But I only know that because of playing as the characters for a couple episodes, which you guys probably know, assuming that you made it that far. I understand why she'd feel confident when she's got all 3 of Sonya's cards, but what makes you call her whimsical? From what I gather, she really wanted Sonya to enjoy her final few days here. If she really wanted to make sure that Sonya didn't work with her parents to dig up info on them, then she'd prevent them from meeting up, even on the final day. That goes without saying. And yet, she granted Sonya the opportunity to be with her family. It makes her seem compassionate at a glance, but there's more to it than that. In truth, she didn't place any shackles on Sonya. She tied the hands of her parents. Not sure that I follow. Well, there's no guarantee that Sophia's parents believe her regarding the divine selection. They might have brought her here under the false assumption that she made a temporary recovery. In that case, they'd never let her have fatty foods like pizza. Bear in mind that I'm taking the objective standpoint here, and not my personal opinion regarding pizza. Okay. I don't think she would have been able to see the world the way she wanted to had she stayed with her parents. Do you understand where I'm going with this? I do. Think back to Sonya's comment about having the freedom to eat what she likes. Pointing that out must mean she's previously didn't have that freedom. Sonya's definition of seeing the world at large differs from ours, and number 11's actions enabled her to fulfill that one desire. Of course, there's no doubt she expected Sophia to run into us. Even then, the desire for her to minimize that regret is definitely there. 2 or 3 days likely isn't enough for her to completely remove her regret, but I think it's safe to say, with tears in her eyes, tonight would have been completely different meaning had she been with her parents. True. I see. That makes sense. Not sure I can say this is the correct option, but at the very least, Sonya seems to be happy from the bottom of her heart. This may seem as an important foundation when it comes to learning more about number 11, too. That's not the main point of this discussion, though. Instead, I want you to consider joining forces with me for the remainder of the divine selection. She stares deep into my eyes. It takes a while, but she finally comes out with a proposition that feels long overdue. I stare right back, unable to say anything in response. My brain completely shuts down. I have no idea what to say. I can hear the sound of her breathing. Noticing that her nerves are building with each breath, I finally answer. I'm sorry, but I can't. You have every intention of making me the final survivor, don't you? I do, but you need to realize that I'm doing it for my own sake as well. That doesn't change anything. It's not fair to partner up with you when I haven't resolved to do the same for your sake. I still can't decide which one of us deserves to live through this. There's no way I'd be fine letting one of my closest friends give their life away. And yet, I don't want to die without knowing my own regret. without knowing why I got right. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, though, is that you will know your own regret. Because if you get eliminated from this competition, they have to have the regret card on them. So before you get whisked away, they will tell you what your regret is. Meaning that completely negates that entire point. I mean, I'm sure there's more to it than just your regret, but without knowing why I got wrapped up in all this to begin with. So as long as I've got that stuff on my mind, I'll only hold you back in the end. There's no doubt I face situations similar to when I confronted Alan at the hospital again. I'm sure my resolve will take a hit again when that time comes. Your regret, huh? Miharu trails off. There's no need for her to speak when her expression screams the complicated thoughts she's having. The silence doesn't last long, however. I'm fairly sure that you should have an idea about my cause of death. I'm also sure that you'd be appalled by it, too. Did she commit suicide? That's why she doesn't want to live. So she wants to ensure her friend Rico lives. But why? It's fine, though. I'm okay with maintaining the status quo, even if my stance on the matter hasn't changed. My fate exists for your sake, so I'll simply wait for the day when you can finally clear up your own personal doubts. Why are you so desperate to give your life for mine? Surely you have your own regret to care about, too. You do have your own cards, don't you? She said it! She regrets... Her regret is not telling Rinka that she loved her, and her cause of death is suicide. We don't know her name, but... Oh, that's so depressing. I'm legitimately dying inside. Miharu... Miharu is definitely my most relatable character in this. But I have to know why. Why did she commit suicide? Was it because she felt like Rinka wouldn't be able to return her feelings? Or was it because of something else? Maybe something involving her parents, her mom, and maybe her mom's new husband, potentially? Oh man, there's so much that I would like to know about that. I'm sure we'll get to it, but she confessed! It is because I love you. I don't feel like I did that justice, but... Oh my god! Love? Her exclamation throws me off at first, but naturally, she must mean it in a friendly way. Of course. Rinka, you dense motherfucker! Anyway, we should get some sleep ourselves. You plan on seeing Sophia off tomorrow, don't you? Yeah, I do. I know she's the type of person that uses suggestive lines to mask her actual feelings. It doesn't stop me from getting flustered, though. Maybe because there's an off chance that she means it. No, there's a pretty good chance. There's no doubt in my mind that she loves you. God. I mean, to be fair, I literally have done something similar. So it took me a minute, you know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty dense. I'm pretty dense myself. Not that I've had many experiences, because I'm not exactly a catch, but in that case, I have no idea how to handle the situation. That's making it even worse. Damn it. Answer her. Getting to sleep is no easy task after going back to my room. There's way too much on my mind. Lingering in my head is mostly what Miharu said, that I should have had an idea about her cause of death. I didn't outright deny the claim because, well, it's true. I've just been desperately trying to avoid thinking about it because I don't want to see my thoughts regarding my friend's death get turned into a card. That's one thing I can say for sure, regardless. There's no way I'd ever think less of you over it. It seems like she's fast asleep already, judging by her breathing. Can't help but be impressed by how good she looks even while sleeping. It's not hard to notice the scar on her wrist peeking out from under her sleeve. Was it bleeding out? Wait, so she cuts herself? Yeah, I feel like it's got to be over Rinka. But that doesn't make any sense because Rinka doesn't seem exactly like the straightest, you know, noodle in the bunch. It has to be over family issues, right? By a big scar on her wrist. And right here is one of the major... Actually, I don't know where it is. But I feel like there's a major vein somewhere along the middle part of your arm. So if you cut on that, you could bleed out within a couple minutes. I feel like that's what happened. Though I feel like that's got to be a really painful way to go out. You know, if I were to go out, it would have to be off like a bridge or something. You know what I'm saying? It would have to be relatively painless and quick. The problem is that doing that, you have to go out of your way to find a bridge or something. So I guess there's that. Cutting yourself, you usually don't have to go out of your way to do anything. But the pain has to be pretty intense. God, this is a really depressing subject. But having, you know, experience, it's something that I, you know, will ponder. I brew some coffee for both Sonia and Miharu once morning comes around. Sonia doesn't want to drink hers black, so I make sure to put some milk and sugar in. I like her sweater. She seems much more legitimately happy in this picture. I wish my hair looked like that. But Miharu and I, we have a lot in common. The only difference is that she loves somebody. And it's really hard to love somebody when you have no one in your life, for the most part. Maybe a couple people, but they're from the sex that you're not attracted to. So. This was my first time drinking coffee. It was delicious. It has been a while since I've come here. The taste seems to have changed too. Well, it was my grandmother who made it last time, so that's not a surprise to hear. Well, that's confusing, because earlier Rinka said that Miharu had never... She doesn't think Miharu ever met her grandmother. I don't know if you guys remember this from the previous episode, but I'm pretty sure that was what she said. Meaning that if Miharu was there and her grandmother had made the coffee for her, then they had to have met. At least somewhat. That's not it. I was implying that I've changed. I can tell that it's your coffee based on the fragrance alone. Damn. My coffee, huh? I suppose I'm making slight changes to the way I prepare it for a while. That doesn't matter right now, though. Rather, I can't help but lose myself as I stare into Miharu basking in the morning glow with her while enjoying her coffee. It causes me to recall her comment from last night, which forces me to avert my eyes. She might start to realize she likes Miharu. But, oh man, that would be so sad because one of them's gonna die. Ugh. Sonia is staring at her too. I'm not sure if she noticed me doing so and followed suit, but she eventually smiles and speaks up. I have a request for both of you. I'd like to leave Passazier with you. But it's an important gift from your grandmother, isn't it? Passazier, it's Russian for traveler. Oh, Passazier, it's Russian for traveler, isn't it? Wow, you understand my home language? I am impressed. The name must represent your desire to go out and see the world. Pang of sadness hits me as I remember Keiko's belief regarding the meaning behind one's own name. Oh man, it's all coming together. Each of them leaving their own mark on her life, but they're all dead now. Oh my goodness. Although I do my best to hide it behind a smile. What is it you want to do with it? I want you to show it the world in my place. She holds her closest friend out to Miharu with a beaming smile of hers. There's no point in handing it over to me. This is a request for both of you. She leaves Passazier on the table at which Miharu is sitting and prepares to continue with her request. Miharu unconsciously strokes its head with her finger. At least I assume it was unconscious of her, since she retracts her finger the moment she realizes what she's doing. Would you mind listening to what I have to say? The goddess said originally all 12 of us were supposed to have gathered in the same place 12 weeks from the beginning of the divine selection. In reality, my parents planned to take me on a trip if my condition didn't get any worse. They even had decided to bring me to Tokyo. Fate changes its course, and your condition grew worse. Still, that means you were originally supposed to come here. Yes, fate changed its course by having me die before we could take the trip. The important part here is that fate can change. If it can do so for the worst, then it can also do so for the best. The goddess said that fate will allow only one of us to make it to the end, but if fate is something that can change on a whim, then it is possible it can be altered to let both of you let it through together. It may be too late for me, but I believe that the two of you will show even more of the world to Passazier together. That's so nice. You think it's possible to change fate? It's not. Even if we could, all that it would change is which one of us makes it through. And believe me, it won't be anyone other than Rinka so long as I'm around. Don't forget that. It's the same goddess's rule that are keeping us alive right now. It is true, but still I won't take my request back. Sonia speaks with enough confidence to refute Miharu's denial. The look in her eyes tell me she's convinced by her own words too. Selfish until the very end, are we? This is my final will, so yes. I see. I won't make any promises, but let me ask you, Rinka, are you willing to carry out her request? Dan Skippy. I nod firmly to reinforce my response. This is the only thing I can do for her now. Netkis, I'll be on my way. Thank you for giving me some of your precious time. Take care. Sonia, I'll promise I'll never forget about the fun time we spent together. Being with you two made me very happy too. I should leave before it gets too hard for me to do so. Alright, fare thee well. She bows deeply before leaving. I watch her sink below the horizon from the store window. Off she goes. I am too caught up in my own thoughts to properly register what Miharu says. Nothing can change the fact that Sonia is going to be eliminated tonight. When I think about that, I only have 2 of her cards. I didn't even have the option of triggering a simultaneous election like I did with Keiko. Granted, even if I did, it would be nothing more than a temporary measure to console myself. But seeing her walk off into the distance like that is too much. Rinka. Before I can catch myself, I lose my composure, and the tears start rolling down my face. This right here is why I called the situation dumb when I first learned about it. You said you didn't regret your decision, though. Does that hold true even now? I can't compose myself to respond verbally, so I have to nod in response. And this right here is exactly why I love you. She sits down next to me after saying that. The moment our shoulders touch, I turn and cling on to her. She stays by my side the entire time that I cry. Miharu, why did you have to go kill yourself? And it was at the exact same time that... Oh my goodness. That Rinka died. After a glass of cold water, I managed to calm myself down. Oh, I'm good. I'm good, I promise. Meanwhile, Miharu gets ready to leave because she has to go to work. Oh, my eyes. I'm trying not to. It's too early to cry. Shit. Oh my god. Okay. I will see you at school tomorrow. Sorry I was crying so much. Today reminded me how weak I am in comparison to you. I don't want to say anything. I don't know. What is strength? What is strength in that context? Because Miharu killed herself. Is being strong the ability to endure life? Or is it strong enough to surpass your survival instincts and kill yourself? Either way, based on the definition of courage, both are true, which means technically you're being courageous either way. Just one is a positive courageous and the other is seen as a negative one. You may not realize it yourself, but I'd say you're far stronger than me. I deny her claim with a shake of my head, and she smiles at me. We're not even halfway through the divine selection. Remember that I'll be waiting for you once you've cleared up on your own doubts. Thanks. I'd appreciate it if you showed the same concern for yourself, though. Right back at you. Oh, and I said I'd be seeing you at school tomorrow, but I guess we'll see each other in the dream world before then. Hey, that's not a very funny joke. I'll see you later. Yeah. That said, she turns and makes her way out. I should be used to being alone here, yet it somehow feels a lot more quiet than usual. It wasn't that long ago that all three of us were talking and laughing together. It's already almost afternoon, and I decide to open the store up. I almost decide to give my gran a call later on in the evening. My heart hurts so bad. Oh, we've made it. Good evening, my lovely little slaves of fate. And thus today's session begins. Parka's graceful voice rings throughout the court. I can't really fathom what's going through her mind. For what purpose does she divulge the intricacies of fate to us? What drove her to begin divine selection in the first place? My, aren't we a gloomy bunch? I refused to even consider her motivation before now, because I saw her as something eternal, being completely removed from the logic of humans. But now I find it hard not to remember what Sonia said. Fate can be changed. The idea of being able to alter the very events of this ritual had never even come into my mind. Come, why not lighten the mood and engage me in some riveting discussion? Cut the crap and get on with it. Alan's curt response serves as his attempt to hurry things along. I wonder where he is in the real world. I stopped researching him after I met Sonia. You're often in quite the rush, aren't you? Is there any particular reason for this? I'm not one for pointless chit-chat. Besides, you're supposed to be a neutral party. Did you not consider the possibility the other participants could benefit from my talking to you? Surely you wouldn't be displeased. You wouldn't be pleased with your actions if they gave others an unfair advantage, would you? My goodness, did something happen to my memory? I certainly don't recall making any claims about being a neutral party, nor that the divine selection would be conducted in a fair manner. Shit. Hold on, that ain't right. Federico Camradi is the next to chime in. Actually, this might be the first time I've ever heard him speak. Now that he's got my attention, I realize he might actually be the tallest one here. He's pretty stylish to boot. The suit he's wearing looks great on him. I couldn't blame anyone if they confused him for a model. I sure as hell ain't fine with the idea of this whole thing being rigged when my life is on the line. Christ, this guy. Oh my, is something the matter, number 3? Number 11 reacts to Federico's outburst, which causes Miharu to shoot me a quick glance. Looks like the two really are working together. That was definitely an easy one to get. See, that's what happens, is that they get talking and now everyone probably knows that 3 and 11 are working together. Hell, this whole thing's been unfair ever since the cards were distributed at the beginning. 2 of the cards I got belong to the guy I already eliminated. He points towards Alan and states his concern. So it's safe to say that you have 1 card of value remaining from your initial lot, then. What? Feel free to voice any issues regarding the system itself, but only a fool would lay information like that out in the open. I'm gonna make you regret it if you keep running your mouth, asshole. I have no issue with the current system, so I prefer you sped things along. He's like, actually, this system isn't bad. He just told me all of this information. Cool beans. Complete 180 from about 5 seconds ago. Very well, I assume you're all fine with it too. She turns to face Federico. He refuses to comply, raising his voice in a panic instead. Just a sec, are the rest of you fine with this? He directs his question outward to the remaining participants, his arms spread wide. No one responds to him, though. Not even number 11, his partner. There's your answer. They may have their own issues, but they're all united in not making a scene and embarrassing themselves like you have. What's more, they prefer not to make their own incompetence known to others, like you have. I won't let you forget this, punk. Don't worry. I have no intention of forgetting it until you have been eliminated. Parka ends up being the one to interrupt their argument with a sigh. Really now, can you save your argument for the real world? Assuming you'll meet there, of course. Following that, she makes her way to the center of the court. Regardless, allow me to begin tonight's election. Revolve, O clock of fate. Once again, it's time for us to decide whether or not we want to elect someone. Things proceed as Sonia believes. Number 11 will elect number 10 tonight. I grit my teeth at the inevitable and announce that I won't be electing anyone. Next up is Miharu, who will likely be the same. This is the 4th election. It's safe to say that there's an odd split between how each of us are approaching the situation. Some have opted to go all out with info gathering, while others choose to sit back and let the situation unfold. The fact that number 11 and 3 are the only ones to elect anyone yet, 11 and 12 are the only ones to elect anyone yet, is proof of that. Wait! My turn then. In that case, I'll be electing you, number 10. What the? Oh ho ho! A first-timer will be taking a plunge. Very well, allow me to question the remaining participants first. I can't hide my surprise. That's not good because it could act as a hint to others, and it's known by this point that we're acquainted. But that isn't enough to stop me from acting out. Meanwhile, Sonia seems unfazed by Miharu's election. Don't tell me, did they play him from the beginning? It makes sense, considering that she has information, the cards that she has could potentially help Miharu out, and Miharu is dead set on making sure Rinka survives. She doesn't really care what happens to herself. The conversation that night wasn't just about Sonia having Miharu's name card, but this as well. As if I'm mulling it over, the clock hand eventually revolves around a number 11. Yeah, I've got an election. Same as that broad over there. I'm gonna elect number 10. She points to Sonia. It's obvious that she hasn't anticipated this scenario. She doesn't seem bent out of shape, though. She looks more like she's enjoying the turn of events, much like a predator would as it bares its fangs towards its prey. Number 11 knows that Sonia holds her name card. If Miharu eliminates Sonia, it's possible that she could end up with said card. Naturally, this is something number 11 would want to avoid. It's likely the same applies to Miharu. Ah, that makes sense. So, okay, that makes total sense. It makes sense Miharu would have it, because Miharu's name card is something she doesn't want getting out, because she goes by her former last name more than likely. Either that or she has a different first name, I'm not 100% sure, but she goes by a name different than her real name, which means that that information getting out would be bad. And Odette, obviously, her information getting out would be bad too, so it makes sense that these two would end up butting heads over it. But I have to wonder, pardon, about how she died, the illness that she died from. Because that wasn't shared with the main character. That wasn't shared with us as the readers either. That's why they're both aiming for Sonia's election called off. It wouldn't make sense for them to put one of their own cards out there to protect the other. Female 11. Oh, that's Odette. So this is your script for... So what is your script for this kind of situation? We'll ascertain whether or not you wish to obtain election priority, which requires that one of you present a personal card to the other participants. See, that's the other thing, is it's not just to them, to the person that you're fighting for. It's, this is my name, everyone, check it out. That's gotta be rough. Whoever does so first will be at a disadvantage. Oh no, is Miharu gonna do it? She's gonna say suicide or something, isn't she? Whoever does so first will be at a disadvantage. So make your intentions known at the same time. Should you wish to obtain priority, then by all means present me with one of your personal cards. I ain't too fussed about fair and unfair. Gonna make it clear that I'm not interested in doing that, so the decision's all yours, girlie. Come on, number 11. I would much appreciate if you would abide by my proposed rules. Your stance, number 2? She's gonna reveal it. Miharu nods in response, opening her card book. She produces one card from it. I reveal my name card to the rest of the participants, now that I have the right to do so. Number 10, I elect you. Sonia remains unfazed by the turn of events. Her expression seems forlorn, but that's been true ever since divine selection began. Meanwhile, number 11 has stopped smiling. She's giving Miharu a vitriolic glare instead. She abandoned her own name? Well, no denying she's an interesting one. Very well. With that decided, number 2 and number 10, allow me to begin with the election procedure. A familiar tremor accompanies her statement. Shortly after, Miharu and Sonia's platforms ascend to the upper sanctum. So do they not get to see it before all of that happens? Miharu and Sonia face one another in the upper sanctum of the Court of Fate. Neither look too happy about what will soon take place. Regardless, they make sure to maintain eye contact. Thank you, Miharu. I'm the one who should be thanking you. I certainly never expected such a proposition from you, but your decision is the right one. Yes. I knew that Oni-chan wouldn't be able to find it in her to do this. I've already settled on giving my life for Rinka, so steeling myself for events like this is an easy feat. Good evening once again! Parka comes out of nowhere, offering them both a welcoming smile. Miharu looks more displeased by her presence. I see the two of you are already acquainted. What's more, you don't seem hostile towards one another like the other participants have been. The only hostility present right now is being directed towards Parka herself. Miharu makes her desire to not engage with Parka clear by changing the subject. So what do I do now? Choose the 3 cards that correspond to number 10 and read their contents aloud to me. Right. Miharu's cards emerge from the book and float in the air in front of her. She plucks 3 cards from them. Her name is Sophia Presnitz Alexvinia. I wouldn't go into detail, but her cause of death was from an illness. Nani? Sophia, I still can't make any promises regarding your request, but Rinka said she's willing to carry it out. That being the case, I'll do everything I can to help her. Just remember that my priority is to ensure she makes it through to the very end. I am aware of this. I can still say with all my confidence that meeting both of you brought me more happiness than I'd ever experienced before. Please take care of Passazir for me. We will. Miharu casts her eyes down to the book of cards. A few moments later, she closes her eyes and recites the contents of the 3rd card. Her regret was not having the freedom to see the world at large. All 3 cards begin to move on their own in response. Once they reach the middle of the Court of Fate, They come together and form a triangular shape. Goodbye. I'm not fond of goodbyes. I much prefer you pray for myself and Rinka's happiness. Okay. She takes a deep breath before clasping her hands together and offering up a prayer. May Rinka and Miharu find joy in their future. Thank you, Sophia. I will never forget you. May your soul rest in peace. The light from Miharu's cards grows stronger and brighter until it engulfs the entire area. Miharu makes sure to keep her eyes on Sophia's tear-stained face no matter how blinding the light grows. And then she's going to experience her death. Which we're in the same hospital. Feelings of regret and emptiness begin to flow into her. She finds herself laying on Sophia's bed in her room. The doctors rushed in and her parents look on, praying for her safety. The girl reflected upon her life as her breathing grew ever more pained. The ceiling of the roof was perhaps the most viewed scenery she witnessed throughout her life. She could only ever experience the outside world through a book or monitor. Freedom remained a foreign concept. Just how much time had she spent imagining the wonders that would come with attaining such a thing? In the end, her life was nothing but dull. Dull to the point where she spent her final moments contemplating her reality and how it compared to the vast world she longed to experience. You have to be rotten to the core to make us experience the last moments of those we eliminate. Unfortunately, I had no say in the matter. Don't forget that this is a ritual. Your election tonight was forcefully reverted to the fate of that young girl back to its original course. The Court of Fate exists to carry out this ritual. Alas, nothing can be done about each participant being affected by the aftermath of their own actions. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me you had no say in the matter, despite this ritual being named Divine Selection? Is there a force involved here that even you cannot control? Rather than receive an answer, Miharu's platform begins to a descent, and returns to the lower sanctum. I'm not terribly fond of needless curiosities. Parka utters her words only after Miharu had gone enough away. So we never found out what the illness was. Number 2 comes back down instead of Odette this time. It's obvious that her and Number 1 know each other ever since this whole thing started. I also figured that they aren't at odds with each other, which means it's likely they're working together, like me and Odette. Damn, did tonight ever take me by surprise? I was sure she'd back down once Odette said she would. Odette's obviously going to prioritize protecting her own information over eliminating Sophia. Even if the chance of me cooperating with Sophia existed, it was still a lot less dangerous for Odette to get a hold of the information Sophia had than another participant. But what about her name card? Odette's point in ignoring what Parka said was to make it clear that there's no need for Number 2 to reveal one of her cards, but she went and gave up her name card anyway. This is throwing me for a loop. I gotta say that Number 1 sure is a little runt compared to Number 2. I assume they're both Asian, but boy does Number 2 have the right glamour and proportions. God, I figured she'd get eliminated pretty quick, but she went ahead and surprised me. That's a woman after my own heart. Oh my god. The best women are the gutsy ones, definitely, not counting freaks of nature like Odette, of course. Which card would you like to obtain? She poses the all-important question to Number 2. No doubt she's gunning for Odette's name card. I'll take Number 1's cause of death. That way, they have to eliminate her to find it out, because even Number 1 doesn't know what it is. Oh, no. That's interesting, though. Can we see it? Can we? No? No? Okay. Dude, everybody should have Number 2's name card. That's interesting, though. We clicked on her, and she only has 10's name, cause of death, and regret. She doesn't have her name and Rinka's cause of death. Damn, she betrays my expectations yet again. What's going on here? She had that all along? Doesn't look like anyone's more surprised by this turn of events than number 1 herself. Can't blame her. Out of all the cards number 2 could have picked, she went with the one that belongs to the person she's working together with. Why do you satisfy the urge to keep talking? Understand that the situation you're in requires being silent above all else. Number 2 slaps her with a frigid verbal warning. Number 1 is obviously taken aback, but it does cause her to keep quiet. Now that your election is over, I'd like you to hand me the personal card of your choosing in exchange for obtaining the right to eliminate number 10. I assume this will be fine. Parker approaches and is handed a card. My card book begins to shine indefinitely immediately after. Hibinata Miharu. Ah, but that's the thing. She goes by a different name, which means more than likely that would actually lead everybody else off her trail. Right? Miharu Hibinata, eh? Miharu. That's a pretty easy name for me to pronounce. Guess this explains the procedure for revealing your card to the others. Feels more fitting to say that everyone simply obtains it. The others check their card books as well. Why, Miharu? I have nothing more to say to you at the moment. Number 1 was surprised over obtaining her card too. That means Miharu never revealed her real name. Safe to say what's going on here at this point, if you ask me. The relationship's done for. I see. So Federico, that's the thing. That's the thing. They're trying to draw the conclusion that Miharu and Rinka are not working together. That Miharu's actually did this as a sort of betrayal. You know what I'm saying? Tonight's session resulted in 1 elimination. I bid you all farewell for now. Parker begins the tonight's selection, ignoring number 1's shock over the turn of events. This whole situation's got pretty messy now. I was starting to panic a bit myself, considering Odette and number 12 were outdoing me. But I guess we're at the point where anything can happen. And hey, watching Odette getting taken for a ride felt amazing. I was even planning on approaching Miharu, had she opted to go with Odette's info. But seems like she's best off sticking with Odette for now. Or I'm better off sticking with Odette for now. When all is said and done, I have to put some serious effort into containing this newfound ambition of mine. So we have 8 people left. But we're back in Federico's perspective. So thank you all for watching. Make sure you click that thumbs up button down below for me, because you already know your support's greatly appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so that way you can stay tuned for all the other updates coming to the channel, and I'll see you all next time.